You're listening to the Concord Podcast. I'm Curt, joined as always by Taylor and Noah, and we are the pastors of Concord Baptist Church. All right, so welcome back to the Concord Podcast. God, I'm a little disappointed you guys are not, didn't dress for the job you want, just dressed for, I don't know what. Man, that's unfortunate. You guys don't wear ties.
You look like Kevin from The Office.
I look like Kevin from The Office. Those are fighting words, but probably not completely inaccurate. It does make me want chili, though. All right. For those of you who are joining us and have not watched The Office, you don't need to get that joke. We are delighted to get together, even though we are far apart. I'm going to take this tie off. That was the joke for those of you who are listening and not watching. I wore a tie just to make these guys feel bad. But this episode is going to be a little bit different because we are obviously all far apart. Taylor is in the office. He's the only one with no symptoms and a negative test. Noah tested negative for COVID last week, but he still has several symptoms and is sick. So he is at home, and I am at home as well. This is a corner of the only quiet room in our house. So that's where we all are. But thank you for joining us. This episode is going to be a little bit different. We are going to take a break from some more serious stuff. And since we're apart, we figure we play a little quarantine, get to know you game. So it's a hypothetical situation that's not so hypothetical. All of us have been quarantined now for approaching 2 weeks. And so we're going to talk a little bit about things we missed, things that are our ideal situation for quarantine. So I'm just going to kick it off, guys. If you, when you are in quarantine, say you are in quarantine for the rest of your life and you only get one TV show that you can watch for the rest of your life, what is that and why? Taylor, we'll start with you.
Other than, I would say, the recordings of Concord Baptist service.
It's good.
I mean, the preacher there is just an absolute. I'm sorry, did I break up there? Did I fill in the blank?
No. I want you to finish that sentence, please. Please do.
Oh, man. I've thought about this, when we talked about prompts earlier and TV show, that's so difficult to narrow down for me, just simply because I find myself no shock, depending, like the top shelf right here. I mean, like any sport that's on, and this whole quarantine thing, there have been very few of them. If I had to pick like an actual television show, I would probably say something along the lines of Friends or Frasier, but preferably TV show would probably be a sport.
Those are solid selections. Noah?
I'm so sorry, first of all, to all of you who love sports out there going through this significant time of loss.
It's hard.
Because I have no care for most sports, so I haven't noticed anything different in the sports world. My news feed has stayed the same. I will be the typical youth pastor here and say that the shows I would be watching would be cartoons. Me and Elena love watching cartoons from our childhood, Fairly Odd Parents, Avatar, SpongeBob sometimes. She doesn't like SpongeBob, but I think it's hilarious. Kids' cartoons are some of my favorite things to watch because they're not serious and they're funny.
That's good, man. That's good. Good reason. Escape from reality.
That's you, Curt?
Yeah. For me, it would probably be MASH. Was the show that I watched growing up the most. It was formed my sense of humor in a fairly significant way. And so it's an incredibly well-written show. The dialogue is just, very similar to somebody like Aaron Sorkin, who wrote The West Wing.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that show, the dialogue in MASH, even though it's a comedy, is just incredibly well written. It's one of the few shows that's a comedy, but also has some significant emotional heft when they want to wield it. So that's Hawkeye Pierce, one of my favorite characters that's ever been written for anything.
Did you say heft? Is that today? Is that the word for the episode? Did you say heft?
Heft, yeah, Heft. Yes, it means significant weight. Since you were making
Taylor,
office.
when did you start wearing glasses?
Well, see, the doctor told me I have to wear them like last Tuesday or so, and I just.
We apologize to all of you for that horrendous pun. We will be taking it out of Taylor's pay, knowing I may not show up to work for the next month and protest. All right, moving on. Similar to TV shows, but if you were stuck in quarantine and could only watch one movie, what would it be and why? Hefty Lefty Taylor up there, what would it be?
Sticking with the similar indecisiveness that I had on the first question, I think I'm going to have to go with Band of Brothers. It's not actually a movie. However,
that's a TV show.
It's a series. There's only like 8. There's only one season, right?
That's fair enough.
If not, then I would say The Patriot.
Good deal. Awesome. All right. Noah, can you beat America?
No, no one can.
That's true. We are winners of 2 world wars.
That's right.
All right, so movie. And for those of you who are screaming in the background, I do apologize. I have young children who are outside this locked door who are rather unhappy. All right, Noah.
Well, you have your young children. I have a 6-month-old baby. So, screaming could come from any of our houses, except for Taylor. He's at the office.
Lucky.
But movies, I don't really like movies. One, if I've seen a movie, I don't care to rewatch it ever again because I know what's happening. Movies are not my favorite things to watch. You guys have had some movies you've been telling me to watch for the past several months, and I still haven't. TV shows where it's at for me.
For reference, Cool Runnings is the name of the movie that we've been trying to get. It's a feel-good story about Jamaica's first bobsled team. Came out either early 90s or late 80s. John Candy, it's fantastic. All of you should go watch it.
It looks hilarious, but it requires 2 hours of my time to sit down and watch. So
it's 2 hours well spent. You're in quarantine, man. You got nothing else to do. For me,
6-month-old.
Yeah. For me, it would be Apollo 13. As many of you know, I love anything and everything related to space. The fact that it's a true story. Yeah, the fact that it's got Tom Hanks and is just one of the most important events in the history of spaceflight. It's got
a great soundtrack too.
It does. It's fantastic.
Soundtrack.
The trumpet melody from the theme from Apollo 13 is one of my all-time favorites. But moving on from TV and movies, we'll hit the sort of the trifecta before moving on to things that are maybe a little bit more involved, like food. Books. What would be, aside from the Bible, because we're all in ministry and would have to answer that question with the Bible. Also, sincerely, we would answer that question with the Bible. Aside from the Bible, if you were stuck with one book to read for the rest of your life in quarantine, what would that book be and why? Let's mix it up. We'll go to Noah first and then Taylor.
So I only have one book to read over and over. The first book that I ever really enjoyed was The Giver. I read it in like 8th grade and reread it in high school. And at that time, it was like the only book I was willing to read that didn't feel like I was being forced to do it. So it would probably be that one.
Awesome.
But I've been trying to read some other series lately that have been quite interesting.
That's great, man. That's a great book. All right, Taylor.
I like it.
Mine would be The Firm. Obviously,
John Grisham?
That's a definite John Grisham title. And I don't much care for all of his writings. They follow a similar pattern and style with a terrible ending, unless they're made into a movie. But yes, I really enjoy The Firm.
Awesome. Fun fact, I have never read a John Grisham book. It's strange, I know, but yeah.
Wasn't that a Southern prerequisite?
No. And that's another seminary joke for those of you who are keeping score. For me, being quarantined with only one book to read would be horrible, painful, and
it would.
Living.
Wait, do you have a lot of books?
I do. I enjoy a good book, but so it's really impossible to narrow down to one. But I will tell you maybe the most appropriate book that I've read recently that would be enjoyable to read again and again in quarantine is a book. It's a novel by a man named Amor Towles, and it's called A Gentleman in Moscow. It's a fascinating book. It's written during kind of Stalinist Russia, and it's about a man who is sort of tagged for extermination by the regime that's in power. And so he's basically put under house arrest. If he leaves a hotel, it's called the Grand Hotel, then he will be executed. And so he's forced to live out his life in the confines of this hotel. And so it's a really cool, the way the author wrote the book, the way he structured it is this man is now confined to this small space for the rest of his life. And so he has to expand that space. And so it's a fascinating look at same place every day, same routine every day, how that can be expanded, how you can find life inside of quarantine. It's just a great novel. He's a wonderful writer. It's a touching book. So yeah, A Gentleman in Moscow. It's a fantastic novel. I highly recommend it, and a good book for quarantine. So, all right, let's get on to serious business because we're Baptist and we do love food. So one of the things, this was Noah's idea. Let's talk about gas station snacks. So you're in quarantine. You can't get out. You can't go places. So what is your go-to? I'm going into the gas station. I'm going to pick up a snack. The thing you long for because you're in quarantine, you can't do that. What is your go-to gas station snack, Noah?
I love, there are these chips, New Orleans style chips. They have
What, Zatarain? No. What's the?
Voodoo?
I think it's called New Orleans style.
Oh.
But they have a specific flavor of chip they call voodoo flavor. That is the strangest flavor combination I've ever had. I don't know how to describe it, but if you ever want to try something that just makes you like pause for a minute and think about what you're tasting, voodoo chips.
I think they're by Zapp's. Is it Zapp's?
Zapp's. That's what they are. Thank you.
They are super unique. That's cool, man.
That was how it was described to me the first time I tasted one, was taste this and think about it, and I love them.
I'm always a little nervous anytime somebody says that to me, but I'm glad it worked out well for you. What do you, I mean, so you just the chips, or do you get a drink?
And I will most likely, during this quarantine, I've been enjoying cream soda Dr. Peppers.
Yes, as the Lord intended it. That is.
Taylor is shaking his head no, as if
disapprovingly.
Dr. Pepper.
Well, we don't care what he thinks, except for this question. So, Taylor, what is your go-to gas station snack?
Oh, I'm a fan of the overly priced gummy products.
Any specific brand?
Oh, I'm a sucker for a Nerd Rope. Or Twin Snakes. Usually Twin Snakes by Haribo. It's a good go-to for me. Usually I'll grab one of those with I'm weird in this way, but a Sun Drop. That's my go-to beverage if I can find them. A Sun Drop soda and a bag of Twin Snakes, and I am happy for a road trip.
It's pretty solid. For me, it's M&M's all the way. The regular, none of these pagan perversions with peanuts and brownies and all. That's just, as the Lord intended, the original plain that were developed to give caffeine to the army, I am told.
Have you had the chili pepper M&Ms?
You, sir, can go take a hike for even suggesting that. Is that a real thing? Seriously?
Yeah, they had that, coffee, and something else at the same time.
As if 2020 didn't have enough problems. That's
we use M&M's to potty train Hallie.
Oh man, yeah, no. So M&M's, and I do like the Dr. Pepper cream soda. I'm more of a classic Dr. Pepper person. Either that or A&W cream soda is pretty solid. So either of those is a good go-to for me. More on the sweet side, not so much on the salty. That's good. Cool. All right. So outside of gas station snacks, though, you find in quarantine that one of the few things that you can do is eat. And so if you've got somebody that can make a grocery run or go pick up stuff through the drive-through, what is your go-to food for quarantine?
So the one thing I have craved more, not even just in this 2-week quarantine, but like in the 3 months we were working from home earlier this year, the one thing I have craved more than any other was solid Mexican food.
Mm.
So not like picking up Taco Bell, even though I do love Taco Bell. I have to be in the mood for that. But I've just been craving El Vaquero, all the other random local Mexican places. I want a quesadilla and some rice and beans.
I believe it's pronounced quesadilla, but close.
Quesadilla?
That's right. That's right.
You forgot, Noah, you have to have the double L. It makes the.
You are the worst. All right, so Noah's quesadillas. That's a solid pick. Taylor, what about you, man? Go-to quarantine food.
Yeah, my go-to quarantine food for the last several days has been just a cereal, just simply because I can grab it and go. And I say literally by grab and go, I mean like walk through the kitchen, grab a bowl, pour some cereal, and make the loop to my living room and be content for another couple of hours.
Really good setup.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good open floor plan. Just kind of works out that way. And while you're in there, just happen to pass the Rice Krispies and Honey Nut Cheerios. And obviously,
that is the breakfast of champions. It's true. That's pretty solid. Yeah. For me, I would say we've been eating some Greek food recently. Tzatziki's is a pretty solid option. Chicken gyro. The thing with like pizza and stuff like that is it's great for like a day or two, but then when you're stuck in quarantine, you just end up feeling, like death anyways. And so adding, a bunch of cheese and stuff on top of that tends to make it worse. And so, Greek food's a pretty solid go-to. Big fan of shawarma. If you don't know what shawarma is, you should look it up. It's roasted meat. It is in the Avengers. You're right. He does mention that. But yeah, so that's been good. It's fresh. It's easy to cook. Those kinds of things are pretty solid. All right, getting away from edibles now. So preference when you are ill and quarantined, are you a stay in the bed kind of person, or are you a stay on the couch kind of person? This is Taylor's question. So Taylor, we'll let you answer it first.
Couch, definitely. Just simply for the fact that I'm very particular when I get out of bed. I don't care to be in bed throughout the day. The couch seems very, it just screams productivity. If you're going to be lazy on the couch. It's a little more productive because it involves you getting there. So
that is logic I've never heard before, but
the couch
I'm just here to be a blessing.
Good for you. All right, Noah.
So earlier this year, Elena and I had a baby, and the couple weeks when you first have a baby are very tiring. And we spent those 2 weeks sitting in the bed watching TV, letting Fallon nap, and it was quite miserable. And so now I am at the point of, if I'm going to be at home, I'm going to be up, I'm going to be moving. And if I can't do that, I'll be sitting on the couch where I can actually like sit straight up, have a table beside me, eat some food, and watch some TV.
Fair enough. It's a good answer. I would just second the motion all the way around. I'm a fan of the couch, although I do love a good nap, and that is only done well on the bed, because when you have young children in the house and you take a nap on the couch, that's just asking for it. I mean, really, like you don't even get to complain when they do things like drop Legos on your head, because that's just asking for it. So.
Share with the audience what your thoughts on, or the quote that you live by on taking a nap. The pastor told you if you're going to take a nap, you need to do it all.
Yeah. So you just need to commit. That's the operative word in taking a nap. So you need to put on pajamas. You need to get in the bed. You need to turn on the fans. You need to black out the windows. There is no such thing. I think this is the quote you're looking for. There is no such thing as a short nap. If you're going to do it, it needs to be longer than an hour, because anything shorter than an hour is for losers. So that's my theology of nap taking. And
I would just like to say that you're talking about sleeping on or napping on the couch versus the bed. That's completely circumstantial though, because some of the best naps I've taken are on the youth room couches in between events and services.
That was a good catch right there, because I was wondering where you were going for 2 or 3 hours at a time during the workday. So, awesome. All right, so you got to stay hydrated when quarantined. Interested to know the best color of Gatorade and/or Powerade. As Noah said earlier in our prep for the podcast, bonus points if you can name the flavor. So Noah, we'll start with you.
So my go-to Gatorade is a Glacier Freeze Gatorade. It is
classic
teal color, and mainly because it is the only flavor Elena really drinks, so it's the only flavor we keep in the house.
That's good. Taylor?
Wise move. See, I like how he took a marital decision and made it a hydrational decision. That's a good call, Noah. That word had a lot of heft with it. I'm sorry.
I was waiting.
So Gatorade is definitely orange, just true and true.
No, it comes in other colors.
My personal preference is orange.
It's good. That's good. I had a nerd tell me one time that yellow Gatorade has been scientifically proven to enter your bloodstream quicker and hydrate you faster. He's just a tremendous geek that I met on the golf course one day. Initials are TS. Yeah, it's recorded. You got to say something for it to kick over to you, Taylor.
It's I've got a bottle of it right here. Just got in feeling a little low on electrolytes and hydration, and it has been proven that yellow actually hydrates you a little bit quicker.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've got that straightened out, let's move on to once you are better, right? Once you have recovered, like I am right now, you still sometimes have to quarantine for a little while to make sure you are not contagious and not going to get anyone else sick. And that, I think, is where the real struggle comes in, when you want to do things and you just aren't able. But one of the things that you can do is you can do yard work if you live in a place that has a yard. And so I'm interested. Noah is actually interested. He's the one who brought this up. Favorite activity as it relates to yard work? What do you most enjoy doing and why? So Taylor, we'll start with you.
Absolutely. It's the mowing of the yard. And more specifically, it's mowing it in, opposite patterns every time to make sure the blades of grass don't, have lines in them, and bagging it so you don't have just clumps of grass sitting everywhere. And definitely mowing, fertilizing, that sort of thing.
It's a yard, not a pasture, is what you're saying. So it needs to.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I just for those of you who are interested to know, I raised the cut level on my mower by a 1/2 inch to tremendous results just
Great call.
last week. Yeah. Bermuda. I was cutting just a little bit below the cut line, and so it was great advice from our associate pastor to help me with that. And now my grass does look like the promised land. Yeah. The neighborhood dogs certainly have appreciated the change. I'm finding a few more treats in the front yard. Noah, your favorite activity of yard work?
So I would like to go ahead and go on the record here and say that I'm one of the few men who do not really enjoy yard work. I don't find anything peaceful or even really that satisfactory about it. I once heard a quote from some leading scientist somewhere, I'm not sure who, that said 90% of American yards are full of crops we can't do anything with.
All righty then.
So that's kind of how I feel about grass. I do, assuming I can keep everything working like it's supposed to, I enjoy going out and cutting limbs with a big old machete.
A machete. That's an interesting choice. Is there a lot of frustration in your life that leads you to that particular tool?
Absolutely. I just love swinging machetes at anything.
That's pretty neat. I spent a lot of time in Honduras a few years ago, and you
clean cuts. Yeah.
So what are you doing for VBS next year, Noah? We're gonna put you in the rec field, and
yes.
Yeah. So in Honduras, you'll notice all the trees have like along the sides of the roads and things. People walk everywhere. They've all got hack marks on them because pretty much every male carries a machete, and that's what you do when you have one in your hand. So you're in good company from all over the world.
Yes.
I'm a combination of both. I do enjoy mowing, but I also recently acquired a chainsaw on a pole, which is a lot of fun to get rid of crepe myrtle limbs and things like that with the chainsaw. So that's a lot of fun. All right, we are approaching the point where we need to wrap this up. But the last question, I've got two more. Go to music. So let's just narrow it down to an artist or an album here recently that we have enjoyed listening to in quarantine. Taylor, we'll start with you.
Yeah. Usually if I'm in quarantine, if I'm alone, nobody has any say.
Oh, I think we may have lost Taylor there for a second. Internet connection went down. While we're waiting on him to, hey Taylor, you there? We lost you.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Looks like you're okay. We got you back now. Say that again.
Right. Yeah. If I have the choice to listen to something without anybody complaining about my choice, it's going to be something along the lines of Bach. I'm a classical guy. I really like the cellos, the Symphony 104 in D major. If you happen to need something inspiring to start your day with tomorrow, it is Tuesday, and there is not a bad day. Sunday to Sunday, there's not a day where Bach doesn't fit in that calendar.
Bach. That's good. That's good. All right, Bach Symphony 104 D major. You don't want D minor. That's not a good thing. All right, Noah, music.
I've been really getting into 21 Pilots lately. I've been into them in the past, and then just recently started playing a lot of their songs again.
21 Pilots. Can you tell us the origin of the name 21 Pilots?
It comes from a play. I don't remember what play, but it does come from a play. Do you know?
It is. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a play where a man deals with regret because he fell down on the job, and 21 pilots died as a result of that. So yes, all sorts of cheerfulness.
Plane gear. But no, 21 Pilots, if you don't know them, they make really like alternative style music. Most of their songs have a Christian like hidden meaning behind them, but many of their songs are also played on secular radio stations. And so they're really cool.
Interesting. All right, man. Thank you for that. I was looking up, let's see, All My Sons by Arthur Miller, who also wrote Death of a Salesman. It's a play about a man who, caused the death of 21 pilots during World War II. All right. For me, I've been listening to a group recently called the Goat Rodeo Sessions. And if that sounds really weird, you've probably heard of some of these folks. Yo-Yo Ma. It's a group of four guys, Yo-Yo Ma, Stuart Duncan, Chris Thiele, and Edgar Meyer. And it's a bassist, a cellist, a mandolin player, and a violin player. And they just play some off-the-wall, insanely good music. They have two albums out, the Goat Rodeo Sessions 1 and 2. Goat Rodeo is a term for when a million things are happening and going wrong all at the same time. And so that's
2020.
Yeah, exactly. So I would encourage you to check them out. They're excellent. A friend of mine turned me on to them a few years ago. So that's what I've been listening to. Last thing that we are going to cover in the few minutes we have left, though, is when you are packed in a pressure cooker, you're in your house for several weeks on end, you find that you are longing for things that you used to be able to do, even if it was things that you used to be able to do in kind of the restricted world that we live in right now. So what did you miss most? What do you miss most when you were stuck at home, and why? Taylor, we'll start with you.
I think just the ability to go anywhere without apprehension. With Hallie, you know, we used to go grocery shopping as a family, you know, Publix or whatever. And now, like, we're just really apprehensive about going into, you know, places like that. I think that's going to be.
It's a good answer. Cool. Noah, what do you miss most?
You know, I think I miss just throwing Frisbees with you guys.
We have been playing as a staff periodically. We played some disc golf, which none of us are good at, but we do have a lot of fun. By the way, who is the reigning champion of our tournament among the staff? I was just trying to remember. Does anybody remember that?
Isn't it Taylor?
Curt Heft Mize. Rondell Curtis Heft Mize is the champion.
If Heft means that I get to win every time, I'm all for the nickname. You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely bedraggled the mess out of me last time we played, and
I did. It was spectacular. I believe that makes me the all-time champion. I have won twice to Taylor's once,
and mine none.
It's okay. Noah is up and coming. I miss most. I think. Just the ability to spend time with people as someone who is an extrovert, and to spend time with people, just kind of like Taylor said, without fear of, what I'm going to pick up from them, what they're going to pick up from me, what their opinion on this whole thing is, what my opinion on this whole thing is. It just adds a whole nother level of complexity to social interaction. I miss that long for the day when that's not going to be an issue anymore. But yeah, I just miss seeing people. I've been hanging out with my kids, and that's been great. Got to spend a lot of time with my wife, and they're wonderful. But I miss other folks as well, especially our church family. So looking forward to being able to get back to doing that. But that is about all the time we have. Thank you guys for joining us. For those of you who are watching or listening, thank you so much. We'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully in person and together with another episode. And we pray that you stay safe. God bless you.